Hello everyone, nice to see you. I thought I'd make this video here because this was actually put up by the Daily Mail like about 3-4 hours ago, and it really has actually just made my teeth itch a little bit because the headline here, little girl with no shoes is among dozens of migrants to arrive in Dover today after battling cold and wet conditions at sea. Now, let's just have a little look at this headline and let's just speak about this headline. Little girl with no shoes is among dozens of migrants to arrive in Dover today after battling cold and wet conditions at sea. Now, there are a few things which actually I need to say here. Number one, France is not a war zone. Okay? Fact number one. Fact. You can't dispute that fact. The fact is that France is not a war zone. Number two, do you think that girl wanted to be in a dinghy itself? I don't think so. Why is she in that dinghy? Number three, those parents should be prosecuted for neglect. Right? For neglect, right? You don't put a baby or a kid or a girl in thing, but I'm gonna just read into this a little bit more. Children are among the group of around 30 migrants arriving today in Dover. Migrant crossing the channel in small boats were brought into shore by the RNLI. Well, okay, so the RNLI is a charity. Now, I tell you something, let me just ask you a simple question here. Okay, if I go out swimming in the summer and I get into a little bit of difficulty because I've got heart failure and all of a sudden I've just swam out a little bit and I'm just like, oh, I need some help. Now, do you know what? Because the RNLI are too busy going over to France to pick up the old dinghy divers. Yeah. It's not going to be long before somebody dies down on the Kent coast because they're too busy going over to bloody France, picking up these boat people, in inverted commas. No. It won't be long before somebody here in Kent actually dies. It won't be. March 2022 has seen a year-on-year tripling in the number of migrant crossings. Yep. Despite poor weather conditions, 2 groups of migrants arrived today here in Kenya. Now listen to this. A little girl with no shoes was among the dozens of migrants arriving today in the UK by small boat this afternoon after battling poor weather conditions in the Channel. No, you took the choice to put your child into a boat to risk your lives to get to England because in France you don't get what you get here. Fact, France is not a war zone. Why are we not talking about this? Why are we not talking about this? Today's arrivals included a number of women and children could be seen setting foot in Dover, Kent, with blue blankets wrapped around their shoulders and heads after battling cold and wet conditions at sea. You weren't battling cold and wet conditions at sea. You made the fundamental choice to get into a boat. You made that decision. Nobody forced you into a boat. It's not like somebody put a gun to your head and said, right, you're going to Dover. No, talking absolute hogwash and bunkum. The first group, now this is all I'm going to say here, and I'm going to leave it at this. I'm not going to say any more. And I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your comments below. But I tell you something, there are vultures. There are vultures down in Dungeness, in New Romney, in Deal, in Kingsdown, in Dover, that take pictures like this. And I tell you something, they sell these pictures. They sell these pictures for the highest bidder. And I tell you what it does is it feeds a false narrative. Right, where is the picture of all of the young men behind that young girl that doesn't actually have shoes on? I tell you why, because it doesn't sell. It doesn't sell papers. This is nothing more than what me, Steve Laws, Tracy Weissman, Dave G, Chris Johnson, Active Patriot, Little Veteran, Little Boats. This is what sells. This is what sells. It's bullshit. Sorry, I'm not going to swear. No. And you know what? It's not going to stop. and we're not even in April. Anyway, guys, I will speak to you in the next one, but please let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, have a good evening.